My top 5 tips and tricks on doing a K-swap coming at you right up after this. The JDI Ghost Lock is an anti-theft recovery system. Let me tell you all the things it can do. For starters, GPS tracking. It gives you a specific address in real time, not just a general area. You can see where your vehicle is at from anywhere in the world from an app on your phone. The GPS tracker uses 4G LTE cell signal, bouncing between AT&T and T-Mobile towers, giving you the best possible signal. It also upgrades your fuel pump wiring, not only giving you up to 15% better flow, at the same time giving you the power to cut the fuel pump off from the phone. You will also get notifications sent to you through text message or email whether the vehicle is moved in any way, started, towed, or driven. The TrackMate app even monitors your battery voltage. Tracking service starts at $9.99 a month with no contracts. That's less than Netflix. And the best part is it'll work on just about any vehicle. It's time to secure your ride with a JDI Ghost Lock. Visit jordandistributors.com. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the top 5 tips and tricks that I have in my experience for doing a K-swap. Why make this video? Well, because I get tons of questions all the time, and if you do want to get a hold of me with any of your swap questions, I usually answer DMs on Instagram. Shoot over there and follow me, MarkMHSG, over at Instagram. If you have any questions about your swap, you can shoot me a question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, before we get into all these tips and tricks, remember guys, we only have 1 day left on the giveaway for Dragon Spec. We are giving away a brand new set of Arrays Graham Lights 57 DRs, 15x8 plus 35 offset 4x100 in beautiful mag blue, or $1,500. Go to thedragonspec.com, pick you up a pair of glasses and or a shift knob bundle. So the giveaway ends on May 31st at midnight. We're not completely sold out yet. You still have a great chance of winning if you go there now. Get a bundle while you still can. So here it is, my top 5 tips and tricks and secrets about doing a K-swap. So before we go any further, you OGs that have been doing K-swaps for a while, you probably know most of these, but for the beginners out there and the people that are just doing their K-swaps maybe for the first time, this can help them save some time and money and research. So here we go. Starting at the very top, number 5, an air idle control valve. Why do you need one? I'll tell you why you need one. For some reason, it seems like a lot of the B-series theory of having to deal with an air idle control valve has leaked into the K-swap world. And of course, it seems nice to not have to deal with a air idle control valve. But the good news about the K-series air idle control valve is that it's on the bottom of the throttle body. You do not have to run coolant through it. And here's the best part. You can pick up one cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick one up from Amazon. Now, the thing about most K-series air idle control valves is that if it is an OEM one and it's been sitting at all a certain amount of time, it's probably bad. And yes, I understand why most people go ahead and delete it. I know a lot of people will delete it for the fact that, when you run an RBC intake manifold and you have that air idle control valve on the bottom, it will turn and kind of stick out and hit the radiator and or fan. There is a provision, companies do make a provision where you can, angle and re-angle the air idle control valve so that it doesn't hit any of that stuff. Also, it gives you tons and tons of controllability where as the temperature goes through the year, when it's warmer outside, it'll be harder to start, or if it's colder, it'll be harder to start if you don't have an air idle control valve. K-Pro does a very good job of controlling this, and you can set it up really easily. In my opinion, and it's one of the best things to have, because one of the best things about doing a K-swap, if you have K-Pro and everything wired up properly and grounded properly, it will fire up immediately. And if you have a brand new air idle control valve, say from Amazon, it will idle perfectly as well, and you don't have to run coolant lines or anything like that to it. That's number 5 for my favorite tip and trick for a K-swap, because it will save you tons of headache down the road. Number 4, throttle cable and throttle body. This is kind of a two-parter, so hear me out on this one. So my preferred throttle cable is out of a 96 to 2000 Civic EK LX model. Not the EX, but the LX model. I think the DX is the same as well, but the reason why is that they're longer. They give you the opportunity to sort of tuck the throttle cable if you need to. Sometimes a lot of the throttle cables are too short and they just run straight across the engine bay. For you turbo guys, it runs right in front of the turbo, and if you try to tie it out of the way, it can cause some binding issues. But if you get hit that 96 to 2000 Civic LX throttle cable, it usually does pretty well because you can tuck it out of the way. Now, as far as throttle bodies, I either prefer a OEM throttle body, or if you can find one, a hybrid racing throttle body. The reason why is that these are some of the best ever made, and they don't have issues sticking. And if you like to drive your car on the street, they definitely give you a good sense of drivability, which you've probably seen in my previous video working on this yellow Integra Type R behind me with the K-swap. That's a big little secret sort of tip that I like to share with other people, so that you know it's a one and done. You can usually find them in the junkyard pretty easily, or just go to Honda and pick one up. It gives you nice peace of mind that you know that the throttle cable is going to fit. And if you run an OEM throttle body, especially with the air out of control valve, you're going to have a nice easy action with the gas pedal with your K-swap. Number 3, this has been said over thousands of times, and this is one of the biggest arguments in all of the K-swap world, is axles. Now, my personal tip and trick is run K-swap axles. Now, there are some caveats to this. There are some people that have found certain combinations that work, whether it be DC5, you know, RSX Type S axle, or a 8th gen Civic Si axle, and the combination, or even flipping them. I've seen things work, and I've seen them not work. And I've seen so many people, you know, try to go this route, and for the most part, the OEM axles work. Let's be honest, if you did get a hold of a set of OEM, you know, RSX axles, they're 20 years old, you know? So they've been used and abused, and fresh set from, say, either HondaStreet or Drive Shaft Shop or Insane Shafts goes a long way, because they are the proper length for your build. If you're doing a K-swap on an EF, it's a little bit different. You can use the EP3 axles. From what I've seen, haven't had too many issues that I've seen from that. People will tell you on the EGs, EKs, DC2s that you can run EP3 axles. You can, but not for very long. The main problem is that the inner axle on the passenger side, you know, gets stretched, it'll come apart, and it will just destroy things. I've seen it where it takes the entire, you know, oil filter cooling housing, just knocks it off the block, and now you got to get a whole new block just because you tried to save a couple bucks on an axle. So when it comes to axles, my tips and tricks is just go with a K-swap axle. Again, yes, you can use some other ones, and there's tons of debate here, and you know, I'm sure you guys will leave it in the comments below how wrong I am about this. But if you want peace of mind and know that your car is going to be reliable, get some proper K-swap axles. Now, whether you're dumping 700 horsepower on some, you know, weak axles, it's a whole nother story altogether. But if you're just doing a basic, you know, K-swap, get some K-swap axles so that they are the proper length and you won't be stranded. It's happened to me, it's happened to David Patterson, it's happened to about 3 or 4 of my friends, and not to mention tons of people on Facebook and Instagram that have messaged me about it. So with that being said, that's number 3. Get you some K-swap axles and save yourself the headache. Number 2, reverse lockout in non-reverse lockout ECUs. Now, there's a lot of people that will go out of their way to find an RSX Type S 02 to 04 ECU if they have a 6-speed transmission, because they don't want to damage their transmission and they want to have reverse lockout. Now, of course, there's debate out here whether or not you need reverse lockout. You know, idiots need fucking reverse lockout. I prefer to have it. I like it. It helps shifting, especially when you're doing it fast, yada, yada, yada. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the good news. You can save a little bit of money by getting a hold of an EP3. Get one of these other ECUs that are 5-speed based. All you have to do is move pin B7 to pin E21. Just move it on the harness where it plugs into the ECU. Go into K-Pro and assign that that's what you're doing, and it has that option, and then all of a sudden, bam, there you go. You've got reverse lockout. You can save a little bit of money that way, and also, you know, have peace of mind that you'll be able to, you know, have reverse lockout as long as you've got everything else in place. There's no need to kind of waste the effort or the money or time to go find an RSX Type S 6-speed ECU so that you can have reverse lockout. So that's another little tip and trick, so that if you've done your whole swap, you're like, man, I really want reverse lockout, you can have it. So don't worry. Fear not. Number 1, we finally reached number 1 on the top 5 tips and tricks. Which one is this one? Well, this one's also a little bit debatable by some people. VTech Academy has also got a video on this one as well. So, but this is my favorite one of all. So, what are we talking about? CSS versus VSS transmissions. A lot of people prefer the VSS transmissions which is an EP3 transmission or 02 to 04 RSX Type S transmission. And the reason why is it has the normal speed sensor that's in the back of the transmission. This makes installing your harness and your K-swap very easy because your speedometer and everything will work correctly. Now, if you have a CSS speed sensor, which is a countershaft speed sensor, which means it comes out of a 05, 06 RSX Type S, you know, the newer Civic SIs, and I think Accord transmissions as well. I'm not 100% sure, but the good news is there is an easy solution to this. And it's worked for me every time I've tried it. The rule is that if you have a K-Pro installed by Honda themselves, they prep the ECU in some sort of way that will allow you to basically do a fresh Speedo out. Now, this only works with K-Pro version 4. If you have K-Pro version 3 or 2 or older, it will require one of those conversion boxes, say from K-Tune or Hybrid Racing. Alas, there's a cheaper fix. Now, the simple solution to this is you go get a jumper harness that goes from a VSS to a CSS so that you can plug the sensor in, and then you need an extra wire that's been pinned on both sides that you can plug in B11 to position number 3 on the C101 plug, and this will fix your speedometer on your gauge cluster. What you need to do in K-Pro is choose that you're running the CSS speed sensor so it can read it in K-Pro, but getting your speedometer to work is the main issue here. You just need this to get K-Pro to read it, but you need this to get your speedometer to read it correctly and that it's been corrected. Now, again, VTech Academy has more videos on this and how to get your speed correctly dialed in with certain percentages and everything else like that. I'm not going to go into all that. I've actually looked at selling these kits on thedragonspec.com and selling them because it is an easy, simple solution. If you guys are interested in that, leave it in the comments below. DM me on Instagram that you guys want this and you want to be able to buy this on thedragonspec.com, and we'll start producing them and making them. So that's it. That's my top 5 tips and tricks for doing a K-swap. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Don't forget, only 1 day left on the Dragon Spec giveaway. Go to thedragonspec.com, pick up a bundle while you can. Good till May 31st, 2022 at midnight. So after that, we're finally going to do the giveaway. Don't miss your chance on winning these beautiful wheels. You guys have a really good chance at winning these and all the other prizes. There was only 300 bundles total, and there's still some left. So go to thedragonspec.com, pick one up. Thank you also to our sponsors of the video, Jordan Distributors and Resto Tuner. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I'll see you in the next couple of videos where we're finally wrapping up the AC and doing some more stuff to the Type R, as well as we're taking the DA to the dyno, and then we're going to be moving forward with what to do with the DA, whether we're going all-wheel drive or something else possibly. So stay tuned for all that. Click subscribe, the notifications, all that stuff. That's enough of me babbling. Peace out.